There's this scene in The Walking Dead, the lead character, Rick Grimes, he's sitting there with his crew, and he begins telling a story about his grandfather. And his grandfather was somebody that he really looked up to in his life. So he went to his granddad, and he was really curious about his time during the war, him being a paratrooper in World War II, and so he asked him, "Granddad, did you ever kill anybody?" He said his granddad was like, "We don't talk about that, that's adult stuff." So Rick kind of just thought, and he looked at his granddad again, and he goes, "Did anybody ever try to kill you, Granddad?" He said his granddad got like real quiet. And he said, "You know, every day that I woke up was another day to die because I was in a war zone. Every day that I woke up was another day just to catch another bullet. In fact, we called our platoon The Walking Dead because we had nothing to look forward to except potentially dying that day. And dead men have nothing to fear." And he said, "So I would wake up every day and I would tell myself, get up, self. Today's another day to live, or it's another day to die."
Go, go, go! Open this shit up!
And 11 years before that story, I had a similar conversation with my best friend Kyle. We were sitting in Afghanistan, and he had just come to replace me. And he said, how did you survive here? Like, you even got wounded. How did you make it through?" And I just smiled and I looked at him. And I said, "Well, I'm dead anyways." I said, "Every day that you wake up here, you're a dead man." And I said, "You better make your peace with death now, and you better live as if you're dead, otherwise you'll never make it through." The sad part about that story is about 2 weeks after I told Kyle that, he got killed in action. And so when I came home, there was a lot of survivor's guilt. And you know, I told myself while I was overseas that I was a Walking Dead anyways, but the truth was, I became a new type of Walking Dead when I got home. I didn't know how to cope in the normal world anymore. All I knew was war. I just began to numb the feelings that I had inside. I would drink a lot, abuse women, take prescription drugs, just anything to get past the thoughts in my head. The problem is like, I used to watch like all these movies like John Wayne and the Green Beret and like Black Hawk Down. And the thing is they never end with what happens to veterans afterwards. Nobody shows the evening that you decide to put a gun to your head just to end the images that you saw played out over and over again while you're overseas. There were nights where I believed that I didn't deserve to live. My friend Kyle should have been alive. So eventually things just kind of came to a head because they just kept getting worse and worse. And there was a night where I just got belligerently drunk. I kicked down my girlfriend's front door. So inevitably, I just feel like I put this mask over who I really was. Like I didn't deal with the core of the issue at the time. And over time, I remember the normalcy that I felt in war, and one of my friends approached me and said, "Hey man, we're looking for a team ready to go back." And I could have said no, but I didn't. And at the time I was married, and that decision would cost me my marriage. So the voices in my head effectively told me, you can get revenge for Kyle's death. War was what I understood. It became my day-to-day life for a year. It's who I was. But also at the same time, there's this inner conflict because there's death, destruction, chaos. And you begin to wonder, you begin to question, like, what is life? What is humanity? What is everything that I'm dealing with in my own life? What is our purpose as human beings? Because we seem really good at killing each other. About 3 months before I got home from my tour, my wife left. And if I'm honest, I can't blame her. I wasn't the husband that was there. I was always gone. I was off fighting a war. The way that marriages end, there's always faults on both sides. And so I came home and I was pretty much homeless at that time period. Ended up living on my best friend's couch in Austin, Texas for a good month. And he would take me out like partying every night. He's like, "We're gonna introduce you to girls, we're gonna rebound you back, it's gonna be great." And it just got worse, man. I got more depressed, I just drank more. And when he wasn't looking, like I'd be crying in the shower. Wasn't really a fun guy to be around, it wasn't really a good guy to be around either. I was out to hurt people and use them because I had been so hurt. So eventually he just got tired of me moping around everywhere. He's like, "Hey man, can I like take you to church?" He's an atheist, and I was like, "Why? You know, what's that gonna do for either one of us?" And so he ended up taking me to church. It's the first time I'd stepped foot in church in probably a decade. I'm at church and I'm skeptical of the whole thing. And I just, you know, I'm expecting it to be garbage. you know, and a bunch of mumbo jumbo. And I hear this message that my past is not who I am, and that there's a God that's not looking for a better, more moral version of me. He loves me right now. And something in that message struck a chord with me. And I ended up meeting these two guys that ended up changing my life, and they were Christians. And most of the time when I thought of Christians, I thought of judgmental hypocrisy. And I myself had been wounded by so many, but in the midst of all my messiness, they really began to love me. And as they began to love me, I began to change. And eventually I became one of them. And the only thing that I want to do now is love people the exact same way that they love me.